Hello everyone, this is part 39 of What If Naruto Failed and Chose a Different Path, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Akatsuki base 2 months later. Kazama Shishio was now kneeling in a circular chamber with ancient runes far older than he or anyone before him, alive with demonic power as the great beast looked down upon his aged form. Trigon was most displeased with his loyal servant. Fool! I gave you back your lost strength to make sure you kept your end, our little arrangement, Kazama. I had to both the previous leader Pain and Uchiha Madara to make sure you would have the strength to bring me into your world. Not ruin it, said the demonic voice of Trigon, shaking the room. Shishio was in making some powdery rock dust fall from the ceiling to the floor. Before and after his defeat countless millennia ago in entering the living realm, the interdimensional demon of darkness learned what it meant to be patient when getting what he wanted, and this was one of those times. Still, that didn't mean he had to tolerate his loyal servant had to kill the other remaining members of Akatsuki when they were still needed to round up the remaining beasts to be sealed. The nine-tailed beasts or demon lords were after all the very key needed for his return after years of waiting unless something of equivalent value was offered to the statue. Trigon-sama, I know you are upset, but the others were becoming too suspicious of the truth behind our organization's actions after Itachi and Kisame left. None of them would have followed you due to their own personal agenda, and the only way I believed that they could be of use was to offer them up as SS to further assist in your freedom. That is why each of the 9 members has a ring given to us, and I thought that since most of the tailed beast you needed was sealed away already, said Shishio, not looking up to face his demon master. Yes, most of them. Not all, said Trigon, reminding Shishio of Akatsuki's failure as a while in getting all of the demon lords. With the others currently being unattainable due to some interference, I had to do what was best to give you the needed chakra to free you from your current realm. The last of the demons to be extracted is the Nibi vessel, and I can see to her personally, Trigon-sama, since she is the second weakest of the 9, said Shishio, knowing that if it came down to it the man would have to somehow offer up himself as AS for his demon master. But Shishio wouldn't let it come to that. Then go, Kazama, and bring the Nibi to me so I may cross over to this world once more to finish what I started so many years ago, said Trigon, with his 4 eyes closing and the runes on the walls fading from Shishio's eyesight. Rest assured, master, I will not fail you, said Shishio, knowing what the price would be if he did. Konoha at the moment. Tenten was ecstatic that her date was next with Naruto after waiting for so long, and was now dressed in a white stylish Chinese-style dress with a black dragon running up the leg. She felt, given Naruto's female tenant in his right arm, it was more than appropriate and knew he would love it too. In addition, Tenten decided to let her hair down for this to be more ladylike, but still kept a weapon or two hidden for any possible dangers that may interrupt her date with her Naruto-kun. The latest update on Naruto's condition was extremely good. He was in the 90% range at this point, and it wouldn't be long before he was back up to speed once more. In addition, his training in Demon World was also progressing nicely, with Naruto hinting that he now had several demonic tattoos on his body as a rite of passage of some form. True or not, Tenten knew as well as the other girls that it made Naruto all the more sear, and she couldn't wait to search for them at the appropriate time. Her slightly perverted thoughts were redirected to the door, as the doorbell rang that had indicated to her Naruto had arrived for the date. Checking herself over one more time in a nearby mirror, Tenten quickly walked to the door, made one final mental check over one more time, and opened the door, revealing Naruto in all of his spectacular glory. Naruto himself, who had become even more muscled than before in Tenten's eyes, was wearing a black kimono with a blood-red fox symbol on the back, with the tails reaching into his shoulder, his legs, and 2 of the tails around his waist as if they were a part of him. His multicolored hair was wrapped up into a ponytail in the back, with the length of it braided to signify himself as a master of taijutsu. Hello, Ten-chan. You're as beautiful as you are accurate with throwing a kunai, said Naruto, taking her hand and kissing it, making the woman blush as he escorted her to their destination. Naruto-kun, where are we going? Said Tenten, wondering what he had in store for the date, or what gift in a white box under his arm for that matter. Someplace special that is, for the lack of a better word, out of this world, said Naruto, getting to a clearing where they were now alone. This is so exciting. I know the gift is for me and no doubt it's something really special, but why bring me all the way here? Thought Tenten, who for the most part was trying to keep perverted thoughts from arising in her head. For the most part. Before we go any further, Ten-chan, I want to give you a very special gift and the words that express my feelings that come with it, said Naruto, bringing his gift from his left arm around and handed it to her, which she took without question. When Tenten opened it, she stared at the gift that was an orange-looking pipe. Naruto-kun, not that I don't mind your gift, but what exactly is it? Said Tenten, as she held it in her hands. It's a very special gift I acquired for a very special lady, who is a master of weapons and sharp objects. Tenten, I am proud to give to you the legendary power pole, said Naruto, smiling at Tenten while trying to hold in his laugh at her expression of confusion that was on her face. Power pole, said Tenten, looking at the supposed weapon, though if anything it looked like certain toys that women use when they have urges. Not that Tenten would stoop so low to possess those things. I can tell by the look on your face you don't understand. Let me explain to you how it works before you think otherwise of it. You see, this weapon was once used by one of the greatest warriors ever to wield it in his time, long before ours. After seeing a few people about it and owing a few people favors down the road, I was able to retrieve it to give to you. I know how much you love weapons, long or short, so this one will be perfect for you with your SKS, said Naruto, removing the pole from its special container and placing it in her hands with his. It doesn't look like it can be used for long range unless I throw it, thought Tenten, as she tried to force down the blush on her face as she felt her hands on his. Now to activate this weapon you must simply command it to extend or retract and use a small amount of chakra to start the process when commanding it. Give it a try and focus. Repeat after me. Power pole extend, said Naruto, smiling, knowing Tenten was going to love it. Okay. Power pole extend, said Tenten, forcing a small amount of chakra into the pole, seeing the pole glow slightly before it extended a good 10 feet to her right and left. Good. The more chakra you put into the pole when you want to extend it makes it go longer, and the same goes for retracting. It will take a lot of practice to master, but once you do I have no doubt even soon it will praise you for your skills if she hasn't already done so, said Naruto, making Tenten blush and have stars in her eyes at the same time, picturing Tsunade bowing to her, telling her how wonderful she is and making her the first ever weapon Sannin. Naruto couldn't help but laugh slightly at his future wife's faraway look and kissed her on the lips to break her free from the fantasy Tenten was having. Sorry Naruto-kun, it's just you said something that has been my life's dream in proving that women are just as strong as men when becoming shinobi, said Tenten, blushing an even darker red at her embarrassment in fading out like that. If you ask me, you're doing a fine job, Ten-chan, and anyone who tells you men are better at being shinobi than women seriously has issues in gender equality, said Naruto, staring at one example of such proof of a strong woman in front of him. The others were back at his estate. Thank you Naruto-kun, it means so much hearing it from you. But why else would you have me come out here aside from giving me my gift? Said Tenten, looking curiously at the now young man, who had a fox-like grin on his face. To show you another technique I learned from previous owner of that weapon, Ten-chan. You see, I'm taking us to other world, said Naruto, making Tenten gasp at hearing that, thinking that her love was going to K her and himself seconds later until she replayed what he said in her mind and hearing the word technique. The other world, as in heaven, said Tenten, who didn't think it was possible to travel to that side unless you were, well, deceased. Then again, she had learned that there was a way to demon world through a portal when it was open, so she shouldn't really to be surprised that there was some loophole for a way into the heavens. Yep. Don't worry, it's completely painless, though you may feel a little queasy from the sudden rush since this will be your first time experiencing it, said Naruto, commanding the power pole to retract full before putting it away and taking hold of Tenten via her shoulder. What's the technique called? Said Tenten curiously as he put 2 fingers at the spot in between the eyebrows, giving her that same fox-like smirk. It's called instant transmission, said Naruto before locking onto the energy mass in Otherworld as his point of destination before using the technique, making Tenten let out a small squeal of surprise. Otherworld check-in station. Naruto had been right in the trip, making Tenten queasy as she felt like her stomach was trying to catch up with her for a good 30 seconds before it finally did arrive nearly from the travel. It took Tenten an additional 45 seconds to realize exactly just where they were, and it wasn't the human world. Welcome to Other World Ten-chan, with our tour being the check-in station where all souls go to be sent either up or down, said Naruto, taking her free hand once more and showing her around. It's not exactly how I imagined it except for the puff yellow clouds, said Tenten, as she had always been told as a child by her father that heaven had white puffy clouds with angels flying around playing on string instruments called harps. She couldn't wait to see her dad's face when she told him the truth. "Ah, Naruto-san, it's good to see you again. How are things?" said King Yema, looking down at the two while Tenten gave an eep sound and hid behind her love at the sight of the giant before her. "Good. I take it today's a good day with no paperwork for once. Where are my manners? King Yema the first want you to meet Tenten." "Tenten, this is King Yema, he decides just who goes up and who goes down," said Naruto, turning his head to see Tenten looking up at the giant horned man in a suit and gave a shy hello. "Tenten, huh? She seems shy. Are you sure this one's not Hyuga Hinata girl?" said King Yema, earning himself a faceplant from Tenten, who got up angrily and glared at He-Man. "Hey, I resent being called shy, you oversized bull," yelled Tenten as she felt that her being shy was not the way of a female warrior like herself, while ranting on about men having oversized egos that needed to be popped. "Need I remind you of my position and where I can send you when your body SS?" said King Yema, glaring at her with a smile that spelled doom for the young female shinobi, who upon hearing his words stopped ranting and hid behind Naruto once again as a safety measure. "Sorry about that, King Yema. Ten-chan just hates being belittled and thought of as a weak woman in a strong man's world. Is everything ready for today?" said Naruto, getting back to what he had planned for his time with Tenten. "Yes, I talked to the Kais about it and everything is set, so you and your spirited date go enjoy yourselves while here. Also, Naruto, I need to talk to you about one more thing," said King Yema, his face sly serious, and Naruto knew he wasn't playing around anymore. "What is it?" said Naruto with his arms folded and fully focused. "This business with Trigon coming back is serious since it affects a lot of people, as well as those that I sent below when brought here for judgment. If Trigon gets loose, he'll open a portal large enough to free them to cause havoc again in his name, and I can't have that happen to me a second time. It took me nearly 500 years just to get through the last rising from the grave incident, and I can't go through with that again," said King Yema, as the paperwork he had to redo after that last fiasco was a real pain in the ass. "Rest assured, King Yema the First will use all of my power to prevent it. But for now I have a lovely lady whose attention I am ignoring," said Naruto, bowing to the large man before putting a hand on Tenten's shoulder again and used instant transmission to reach the Grand Kai's planet, not missing Tenten's squeal of protest of going through that again. "To be young again," said King Yema, laughing as he turned on the large TV behind him so he could watch the event Naruto and Tenten were going to Kazama Estate at the moment. Hana was pacing like an animal, worrying about her Naruto-kun and how that weapon girl was probably trying to have her way with him. Oh, Hana had long seen the tall tale signs of seduction the girl put on with the perfume, keeping her hair down, and the kimono that if swayed just right showed off a lot of leg along with a hint of something else which lay hidden underneath it. "Will you calm down already? You know Tenten can't try anything until he's 16 years old like most of us, so don't worry," said Ino, seeing the Inuzuka girl's worried look that was mixed with her own desire for Naruto. "I can't. Every second she spends with him makes my blood boil, knowing that she may try something remotely close to what we can't do until Naruto's ready to be married to us. I swear if Tenten so much as tries to make a grab at his seal," said Hana, only to be interrupted by Tayuya. "You'll what? Remove her hand and replace it with yours," said Tayuya, who after more progress with soon had stopped cursing now unless it was really necessary. "Shut up. And don't think that you can act calm about this too. I know for a fact you were the one cursing in your room while the two walked off, and I would have preferred my ears not heard them," said Hana, seeing Tayuya growl at her, and returned it fiercely. "Funny, in here I thought your ears were clogged with all those little toys you used to try keeping yourself happy on those cold dark nights," said Tayuya, making Hana growl and attack her, making the two get into an all-out cat-out-of-dog fight, calling each other names while trying to pummel the other into oblivion in the process. "Those two at it again," said Hinata, walking into the house as she finished up training for the day with Tsunade and Shizune. "How could you guess?" said Ino, only be dragged along into the chaos as the two crashed into her, and soon it was a three-way fight. "When will they learn?" said Hinata, sighing at the brawl going on between her friends that shared her lover with her. Other world Grand Kai's planet. Wow, Naruto-kun, this place is amazing, said Tenten, looking at the luscious fields of grass, plants, and very sky itself around them was pinkish like her usual shinobi attire. Yep, this is the place where all the universe's best fighters come to train after so they can compete in a tournament representing the quadrant and Kai they serve, said Naruto before explaining how everything worked with the 4 Kais, the Kai they fell under, and the Grand Kai himself that monitored all their actions. And I thought our world outside of Konoha was big, thought Tenten, as Naruto escorted her to a large stadium filled with fighters and spectators. Naruto soon led Tenten to their special seats, which were considered to be the best seats in the house, second only to the Grand Kais of course. On the opposite side of the large stadium they saw the prestigious-looking Grand Kai and the other 4 Kais as another world tournament was about to begin once more. As the Grand Kai gave his usual unorthodox speech, Tenten couldn't help feel she was having the best time of her life as she watched this unfold, knowing that one day she would be participating in such a tournament. That she would one day fight other warriors from different races, cultures, and creeds to win the title as the strongest female in the entire universe. Thank you for taking me to see this, Naruto-kun. I couldn't have asked for a better date, said Tenten, placing her hand over his before he covered hers with his other hand. For you, my dear, I will always give you my best, said Naruto, as he took her hand and kissed it, making her blush even more. It didn't help they were on the huge Tantran screen with a heart-shaped design around the two of them with the words, "Warriors and Lovers Forever," written below. If it weren't for the fact they were in other world, Tenten would have probably SD from sheer embarrassment, only to reawaken in the exact same spot with Naruto with a halo. Human world sometime later. The other world tournament had been with Vegeta and Goku, who Naruto pointed out was the prior owner of the power pole, were up in the finals. It had been a fantastic battle for the ages, with both warriors going to Super Saiyan 4 as it was called and fought on a level that shook the planet itself to its very foundation. The whole time Tenten had clutched onto Naruto's arm for safety, fearing that one of the blasts from their attacks might hit them. In the end, it was a draw with both warriors nearly beating each other, ironically, to death, with neither one getting up after the given 10 count, with everyone on the edge of their seats. Now Naruto and Tenten were back in the realm of the living, heading back to the Kazama estate, holding each other's hands, with Tenten putting her head on Naruto's shoulders. The instant they got to the door and Tenten opened it, Hana came out, tackling Naruto to the ground, snuggling into his shoulder, whispering sweet words into his ears. "Hello, Hana," said Naruto after regaining his breath that was knocked out of him by the tackle and giving her a small hug before getting off the ground. "Someone missed you," said Temari, walking out of the door, looking at Hana flirting with her love, while Hinata and Haku had steam coming out of their ears when they came out to greet them. "Among others, I hope," said Naruto, kissing Hana on the forehead, and pointed to the angry women making the Inuzuka let go, reluctantly. "Of course," said Hinata and Haku, soon hugging him before they glared at each other, hugged Naruto some more, and then repeated the process several times. "Well, someone hasn't lost his touch when it comes to women," said Arashi, smiling at his son's animal magnetism that drew these beautiful women to him. "Hey Dad, how has everything been since I was gone last?" said Naruto, knowing it had been a while since he had been in Konoha, or human world for that matter. "Surprisingly good. However, just so you know, I changed both my first and last name on account of your grandfather still being alive. The Kazama name has brought nothing but trouble for me and now to you with your many soon-to-be wives," said Arashi, seeing his son's look of understanding, knowing that the Kazama name was filled with blood and death. "What did you change your name to?" said Naruto, looking at his father curiously at the choice in a new name. "From now on my name is Namikaze Minato of the Namikaze clan, with you being Namikaze Naruto, the heir to the Namikaze clan," said Minato, smiling at his son, who smiled back before becoming serious again. "What about Mom?" said Naruto, knowing she should probably have her name changed too. "Well, to be honest with you, son, I didn't want to change your mother's last name since her first name was really her middle name in secret. She had many enemies in Whirlpool Country since she was a talented shinobi herself. Her full real name was Uzumaki Hikari Kushina," said Minato, thinking back to when he first met that energetic ball of energy he called a wife. Naruto seemed to be deep in thought about his mother at that point and how she was like when she was with his father when they started dating before getting married. No doubt Kushina was the one that kept Dad going through the darker days with her uplifting spirit Naruto knew his mother possessed. He was snapped out of his thoughts when Temari was in front of him waving her hand in front of his face with a worried look in her eyes making him snap back to reality. Sorry about that, I just went into a deep train of thought about Mom, said Naruto now slightly embarrassed about the topic thinking now was not the time or place for it. It's alright Naruto-kun, I have deep thoughts about my mother as well sometimes, said Hinata with a nod of agreement from Haku, Temari, and Tenten. Thanks. I'll see you for our date in about 2 weeks from now Temari-chan, said Naruto before using instant transmission to head back to other worlds seeing as he wanted to learn the final flash and Big Bang attack from Vegeta knowing such attacks would benefit him later on. Whoa, thought Temari wondering how Naruto did that before following Tenten inside along with the other girls, who drilled the weapons mistress on her date and gift she got from the man. Demon world at the moment. The Demon Prince of War, Urameshi Yusuke sat amongst the members of his council to discuss the distinct possibility of Trigon's return to the three major realms of living, spirit, and demon world. Granted Yusuke was not born during the time of Trigon's return or around for that matter when his name was not even mentioned, but the history lesson he got on the evil foe from those who knew of him told the current ruler of Demon World that this entity could not be taken lightly. Figures that it would be the arrogant humans in living world trying to play God with powers and ancient matters they do not understand, said an elderly demon knowing full well the destructive power the four-eyed demon threat possessed when he was younger. Nonetheless it is better for everyone that we are making preparations now than when it's too late to do anything. I've already spoken to Kernma about getting additional help from our cousins up on above and should Trigon appear we can count on him to aid us in the fight against him, said Yusuke since his past history as a spirit detective helped keep the two rulers of their respectable worlds at peace with each other. What about the enemies that reside within living world? I've read from our reports that there are other forces outside of Trigon's loyal pet and Akatsuki that are also meddling in way of trying to cheat death and becoming immortal, said another demon with several horns on his head, with pale skin, and sharp fangs. I've talked to Naruto and Slade about it. It seems this Danzo character along with his two followers that were once the Sandaime Hokage's teammates. Already they've used Orochimaru's immortality jutsu to enter new boss before their original ones gave out on them. Danzo knows Konoha inside and out so in order to win against Leaf he needs to swell his forces along with gaining alliances with several shinobi villages to crush it. I wouldn't be surprised if he got Iwa and Kumo together to form a powerful alliance treaty to destroy Konoha, said Kurama having read the reports himself on the matter and saw what the man had planned with Sound Village. Speaking of Naruto, how is the blonde powerhouse? Said Yusuke knowing the kid was making good progress with his healing and wanted to learn various things from different people. Naruto's healing progress is going very well. Once he comes back from his date with his future wife to be and learning a few more things from the Grand Kai's tournament we can continue his healing. He should be back to full strength in a few months and can return to the living world again, said Kurama since Yusuke had placed him in charge of that since Naruto first came back to Demon World looking like hell. That's good. The sooner that kid is back to kicking ass the better for us, said Yusuke knowing that Naruto very well could be the key to defeating Trigon. I hear Slade is searching for all 7 Dragon Balls. Is that wise Yusuke? Said Tuya knowing that if anyone else retrieved them it would be a disaster. For now we'll leave him alone. He can't use them to rule the world just as they can't be used to bring Trigon back, so leave him alone and let him hunt for them, said Yusuke having already talked with the man about that and got the full story from the demon fox. Konoha Namika's estate several months later. I still can't believe you saw what heaven looked like, said Ino pouting at Tenten for getting such a rare if not impossible sight to behold. Like I told you before Ino you don't simply go to heaven when but go to a check-in station, where, depending on your actions, King Yema decides who goes up, and who goes down, said Tenten shivering slightly at seeing the large being looking down at her knowing that when she did, she would have to face his judgment for every action she did while living. Remind me to be nicer from now on, said Tayuya knowing her previous track record with Orochimaru wasn't the best around and knew that in the end it could cost her. Maybe you can do my laundry to start, said Ino making her and Kin laugh while the red-haired seethed while thinking of a way to get back at them later. Tayuya would do laundry all right, but for Ino and Kin it wouldn't be pretty. What you should be doing, Ino, is thinking of what to wear for your date with Naruto shortly after he goes out with me, said Temari, coming down the steps with Haku and Hinata as she had gotten ready for her date with the boy of her dreams. Temari was currently wearing a sky blue kimono that had dark silver dragon and red fox-like designs all around it, with the dress itself hugging her figure, showing just how good a figure she had. Her hair was down like Tenten's had been, only it was now braided, giving her a defined look of a sophisticated yet secretly wild type woman. If it wasn't for the simple fact that her date was stronger than her brother Gaara, Temari wouldn't have worn such a thing, fully knowing that if Gaara saw her in it, would have made the once psychotic demon vessel angry. Fortunately for her, Gaara was busy with both Sakura and Sasam elsewhere in Konoha. Soon the doorbell rang, indicating to her Naruto was here to take her on a date, and faster than someone could say, Wind Scythe Jutsu, the former Suna ninja, was at the door. She stared at her date with eyes now with hearts as the replacement for the seeing orbs, as she saw Naruto looking practically dressed to K. He was wearing his formal black kimono, only it had a golden fox on the back this time, and with a red dragon rising above it as if to attack anyone who dared to get close to its wearer. Looks like the winds of seeing a beautiful woman blow in my favor today, said Naruto, smiling at Temari, looking perfectly healthy and ready to move back home after his date tonight with her. Wow, said Temari, seeing the boy had grown quite a bit in his time away from each of them, seemingly evolving every time she blinked and getting better with each passing moment. Hey, that's my line, Temari-chan, said Naruto, playfully scolding her, wagging his finger at her before using the same hand with finger to take hers, leading her to where he wanted the date to begin. Inside the house, Ino was seething at not going out with Naruto at the moment, but she calmed herself, knowing she may be the last, but certainly not the least. She would wait until it was her turn, and then when the time was right she would dazzle him with her love before they got to making out, and then. Calm down, girl. Wait until he's 16, then jump his third leg, thought Ino, blushing at the thought of being deeply intimate with Naruto. Speaking of Naruto, he was near the Hokage monument, wanting to give Temari her not one, but two gifts for her to have on this date. While that may seem like he was showing favoritism to Temari, it in actuality wasn't. The one gift was actually a share between them, also technically every one of his wives was getting the gift too. But that one will come a little later. This is for you, Temari-chan. It was very hard to come by as it's currently one of a kind, said Naruto, revealing a weapon scroll with the former Kazama, now Namika's symbol on it. Temari opened the scroll after she saw that the seal was just for show to reveal one of the biggest weapons she had ever seen. Naruto-kun, well, let's face it, this is amazing, said Temari as she took hold of the giant boomerang, finding it was much heavier than her fan was, but considering what type of weapon she could understand why. This, Temari-chan, is the same demon-slaying weapon, forged from demon bones, which once belonged to the legendary demon exterminator Sango. Hana or Rin may not have told you this, but Sango was mate of the half-demon Inuyasha. Their descendants would later make up what is now the Inuzuka clan here in Konoha, and now this weapon is with the one I believe is the most suited to wield it, said Naruto, knowing that this weapon, when used by Temari, in combination with her wind affinity, would be very devastating, and practically unstoppable. Quote, how, said Temari, wondering if there was anything the man before her couldn't do already. She hoped not. I'll show you. Come to me, flying Nimbus Cloud, said Naruto before he gave Temari an, I'm sorry, look for the shouting part. As Temari looked at him with a confused look to his shouting, it was soon changed to that of shock when a yellow cloud zoomed in and stopped right in front of them. Gift number 2 had arrived. Temari-chan, meet Nimbus. Nimbus, this is Temari-chan, said Naruto, smiling at Temari's reaction at seeing this large cloud now floating before them. It wasn't a known the fact, but despite what most if not everyone in the world these days thought, there were clouds in the sky that were, special being the appropriate word for this matter. These special clouds were in fact very intelligent entities, with this one being no exception, since the cloud had been vital in so many travels to so many battlefields. So smooth and so soft, said Temari as she put a hand on the cloud, feeling the warmth it generated. She found was similar to Naruto's, and the more she felt it, the more she loved it. This gift is for both you and the girls to share when you need to go someplace far off and in a hurry. I don't like playing favorites, and neither does Nimbus here, who will only let you sit on him, as long as you are of pure of heart, and if I ask you a question to which you lie to me about. If you are not pure of heart, You fall through it, said Naruto, hearing the story from the talking to the old cat Karan about how nimbus clouds work. Temari gulped at the rules involving the cloud before her while hoping she qualified for her first sitting on the nimbus and not embarrass herself in simply falling through it with butt kissing the ground. Here goes, thought Temari, putting her giant boomerang away before she gently raised herself up to sit on the yellow cloud, and to her slight surprise was able to actually sit on the nimbus. Congratulations, Temari-chan. Not many people that have ridden on nimbus in the past can claim to have sat and stayed on the first try. You are now one of those elite people, said Naruto, sitting behind her and hugging her close to him. Where do we go now? Said Temari, looking at Naruto, who just smiled at her with an all-knowing look. To the clouds, wave country, and anywhere you desire in between, said Naruto, as he snapped his fingers, making Nimbus take off into the sky, while Temari let out a scream of surprise at how fast she was going on the mystical thing she was sitting on. All the while Naruto kept her close, kissing her as they went, taking Temari deeper into the realm of love she had never yet experienced before as they rode into the sky for hours on end. Namika's estate 5 hours later. The Nimbus landed outside the large home, stopping near the door, hovering several feet off the ground, with Naruto and Temari getting off the seemingly celestial cloud. They walked up to the door before Temari turned to face him, looking happier than he had ever seen her. Not surprising, since they had flown all over the place, holding each other in the warmth of the other in pure bliss the whole time, seeing the sun rise and fall on several different occasions. I guess this is where our date ends, said Temari, looking slightly sad, knowing that the date and the moment they shared would be over until their next date or after they were both officially married. True, but just because the date ends doesn't mean we can't have more later on, said Naruto, kissing her lovingly on the lips, making Temari blush a good shade of red right after. Especially since you are staying from now on, right, Naruto-kun, said Dragona, letting out a little giggle, knowing that the girls would be all over him the instant they found out. Not long after, the Dragon Queen said that in his mind, the door opened, revealing Tenten, a slightly irritated Ino, Naruto's father, and surprisingly Shizune. Naruto smiled at them all, with Temari going inside and Naruto surprising them, followed, telling them he had an important announcement that concerned them all. So what do you want to tell us, Naruto-kun? Said Hinata, proud of herself for being so close to her love and not stuttering or fainting in front of the other girls. Her blushing was still there, but then again Hinata always blushed around Naruto. Well, as you know, I've been going under some intense medical treatments as of late on account for what happened at the Valley of the End with Sasuke team, then with Kiba, the Iwa Shinobi, and then Shishio team later on. While I wasn't healing, I was learning about different things from different people, and not just demons either, but also from the guys upstairs too. However, my medical treatments are complete along with my training with everyone both above and below in the living world, so what I'm sort of saying here is that I'm back home, said Naruto, letting the facts sink into all of them before he got the given results of his words. The girls all squealed with glee before tackling him, planting kisses on him and hugging him with all their might, knowing they had their future husband back to stay. Hey son, just one quick question. Where's Slade? Said Minato, knowing that the Demon Lord should at least be here to say hi. Sorry dad, but Slade is currently with Kurenai, Terra, and believe it or not Shikamaru of all people. He discovered a way for Kurenai to be with him, said Naruto happily at the fact Slade was going to get what he wanted and so would Kurenai. Slade being with Kurenai I can understand, but where does Terra and Shikamaru being with him follow into his plans, said Minato, raising an eyebrow at the idea, wondering if Shikamaru was getting the same treatment as Kurenai for Terra's sake. When they return let's ask them, but for now let me spend the rest of the time with the women I love, said Naruto, holding them close as they moved closer to him as possible. Don't forget Naruto-kun, you still have one final official date with me next, said Ino, giving his stomach full of hard muscle a sensual rub down. Don't worry Ino-chan, I haven't forgotten. Just because you are the last of my dates do not mean it make you are the least loved of the group, said Naruto, as he had somehow managed to get his hand to her back and return her rubbing with his. Kami's lookout tower. Are you sure you want to do this, Kurenai? Said Terra, wanting to make sure the woman walking with her on this seemingly holy place knew exactly what she was getting into. I'm well aware of the repercussions of being a female demon and a fox one at that, Terra, but let me ask you this. Does Shikamaru understand what will happen? Said Kurenai, as she met the demon lady of the desert with an even stare. Yeah, the man is a genius after all. The lazy nut understands what this will do to him, and if he cares about me enough to go through with it, then who am I to stop him? Said Terra, getting a quick nod from Kurenai, who knew that demons did not have to fear the same rules of mortality that humans do. Ah, there you lovely ladies are. Slade and Shikamaru are waiting for you two outside, said Mr. Popo, having let the two walk around a little to see everything there was to see in Kami's lookout tower. Are you scared? Said Terra, looking at Kurenai, wondering how the woman would react after being transformed into a fox demon. More like nervous rather than scared, but yes, I am a little. Not for being a demon, mind you, but whether Slade will still wish to be with me in the end after he sees what I look like, said Kurenai, as they now came outside, seeing Shikamaru turning his head from the clouds to Terra to smile at her. Slade took the bag in his hand and carefully let out all 9 dragon balls, which started to pulse and glow a rather bright orange. Shall you do the honors, Slade-kun? Said Kurenai, hoping she had braced herself well for all that was to come. Of course, Kure-chan. Eternal dragon, hear my call. Arise to grant my wish as I speak your name. Shenron, said Slade as he extended his hand out slightly towards the sacred 7 orbs, which upon hearing the demon lord's words glowed and pulsed faster than before. Shikamaru was fairly nervous. No, he was downright frightened when the sky above him became dark and filled with a raging storm that seemed totally unnatural. Sure, he liked clouds, what Nara doesn't, but not all the angry clouds that cause huge amounts of rain, thunder, and lightning that made days just too troublesome. This will be one of the only time I wish I was being scolded and yelled at by Mom with her extra large frying pan, thought Shikamaru soon after the 7 orange balls beneath him with stars at the center shot out a great energy-like blast into the sky and soon after transformed into the form of a dragon before reaching clouds above the group. Soon the energy surrounding the dragon-like form changed to a solid body of a very very green-scaled, and glowing red-eyed dragon that now stared down at the group. It took all of Kurenai's willpower not to faint, seeking her lover's touch for comfort, while Terra and Shikamaru soon grabbed each other in a hug filled with fright. I am the eternal dragon. You who have awakened me from my slumber, I will grant you a wish if it is within my power. Said Shenron, with his very presence making and voice making mostly everyone around him tense or scared. Mostly scared. Great Shenron, I ask of you to grant this wish to me. Please use your power to transform this beautiful woman Yuhi Kurenai into a 9-tailed fox demon like myself so that we may be together forever, said Slade, bowing his head to the dragon before moving his love towards the great dragon. Yeah, and use turn Shikamaru here into a 1-tailed demon like me too. Said Terra hopefully before hiding behind the Nara as if to shield herself from Shenron's wrath. Very well. Your wishes shall be granted, said Shenron, his eyes now glowing more red as the lightning storm around him intensified immediately before 2 lightning bolts from the storm struck both Shikamaru and Kurenai, making them both scream in pain. Namika's estate at the moment. Hey, why is it all dark outside all of a sudden? Said Ino, seeing the storm clouds outside with lightning appearing left and right. That would be Slade, said Naruto, looking outside with the others, who were in awe to see the storm above them raging like an angry dragon. They had no idea how close their thoughts were right on the money. What exactly is he doing? Said Ino curiously, having never seen a storm like this before, regardless if it was natural or not. I never said Slade was creating the clouds. All I know is that he had a hand in it, said Naruto, having been told by the Demon Lord about his plans for Kurenai and what Terra wanted for Shikamaru. Within 10 minutes of the storm appearance, the clouds soon left as if they were never there, and the sky was as clear as it had been prior to the storm. Hey Naruto-kun, said Ino, getting closer to the multicolored haired boy, who looked at her back wondering what she wanted to ask now that the storm was over. Yes Ino, said Naruto, looking at her and noticing the blush on her face from being so close to him. I was just thinking that maybe, even though you just got back, that we could possibly have our date tomorrow. Please, said Ino, looking at him hopefully and mentally cursed at herself for sounding like a fangirl. Sure, why not? Say, tomorrow afternoon, said Naruto, seeing Ino's eyes now had stars in them at going on a date with her Naruto-kun. Yes, I mean, I'll see you at 2 o'clock, said Ino, trying to look dignified and mature in her response, despite the blush of embarrassment on her face. 2 o'clock it is, I will see you then Ino-chan, my sweet flower, said Naruto, taking her hand and kissing it before heading upstairs to rest, seeing as how the sun was setting and it would soon be time for one big family dinner. Dinner itself was quite the noisy affair, with the girls trying to show their love for Naruto despite Hinata and Haku sitting next to him, since Hana kept trying to play footsie while trying to snake her said foot somewhere else. When that didn't happen, Kin along with Tayuya were playing with their food in a very sensual manner, and the others were no better. Fortunately, for Naruto, his father would have none of that tonight on account his son had just returned home after such a long journey. In addition, Kimimaro had returned from a mission and was most pleased to see Naruto-sama again, and going so far as to kneel before him during dinner to tell the boy that Naruto told Kimimaro he didn't have to kneel since he was considered family and such act like their family by not being so formal. Besides, the whole kneeling and Naruto-sama thing was getting on Naruto's nerves, since Kimimaro would use the sama suffix to his name in every sentence. The next day, Otherworld check-in station. King Yema couldn't help but feel a sign of deja vu, as Naruto once more introduced yet another woman to him, as Weil felt his eyebrow twitch at the response he got from the blonde girl. What was it with people freaking out when seeing him? He wasn't an ugly guy, sure he could be pretty frightening when angry, but who wasn't when you didn't have morning coffee? The kid picks the weirdest kids as mates, thought King Yema, giving the two the go-ahead to go to a secluded part of the Grand Kai's planet for their picnic of a date. See you later, Yema. Oh, and don't forget to punish those bigots who hurt me when I was younger, said Naruto before using instant transmission to head to the spot he had in mind for his and Ino's date. That's easy for you to say, you don't have to write up the paperwork, said King Yema before looking at his current paperwork, knowing it would be sled if not quadrupled by the end of this whole Trigon business was over. Kami's lookout tower. Kurenai awoke from her slumber tired and slightly sore from what she had experienced when that lightning bolt struck and consumed her entire being. She felt like she had SD only to be reborn again in the world, though the process that did it had made her feel an intense amount of pain. Shikamaru must have been the same way, as she heard him wake up by falling out of his bed and making a lamp on the nightstand next to him crash on his Nara head. The several choice words he mumbled told Kurenai that he was indeed awake and now had additional pain to work with what he received earlier. Ah, I see you're both awake. I'll go tell the others, said Mr. Popo, walking off as if all were well. Within minutes, Slade was at Kurenai's side with Terra flying on a rock into the room next to Shikamaru to help him back onto the bed. How are you feeling? Said Slade, noticing the changes immediately to her physical and still very beautiful form. Like when we made love that one time and I couldn't walk right for 3 weeks straight, said Kurenai, opening her eyes slowly, as her now enhanced instincts told her to prepare for what was ahead. It was a good thing too, since Shikamaru didn't want to hear the sounds of animals mating, and it would be a drag to not spend his own private time with Terra away from the foxes. Otherworld, Grand Kai's planet. Ino was simply amazed by the flowers that grew in Otherworld and the field they were on as she and Naruto ate the food in the picnic basket. The large container held various sandwiches, drinks, and several pastries for dessert, which turned into a brief food fight with Ino tackling Naruto, and the two rolled down the hill onto some celestial flowers. Naruto-kun, do you love me? Said Ino, as she held onto Naruto in their romantic hold on each other. Always, Ino-chan. But why do you ask such a question in which you already know the answer to? Said Naruto, curiously staring down at Ino, wondering what she would say. It's just that I was once mean to you when we were younger, and even though I was still a fangirl, as I look back I see how stupid it was to idolize Sasuke-team, said Ino, as she shook her head a little to remove the images of her being the stupid fangirl she was then to the powerful shinobi she was now. Water under the bridge, Ino-chan. Let's focus on us for now and let the past stay in the past where it belongs, said Naruto, kissing her and using his Jaganai sent her mind and body wave after wave of blissful feelings that no person could describe. Naruto showed her his love for her. He did it with all his dates. Hinata in the park before her K-ping, Haku during the ice skating, Hana shortly after he gave her his gift, Kin along with Tayuya through his song he played for them, Tenten during the other world tournament, Temari on their cloud ride on Nimbus, and finally here with Ino holding each other in a loving embrace. Despite the evil that would soon come, Naruto was content with what he had now, what was waiting for him back home, and the future of his home when he sired dozens of little children to call his own. All in all, Naruto felt like life for him couldn't get any better and he wouldn't have it any other way. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.